What's up YouTube? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm gonna go over my top 3 favorite summertime baits for July. Now, I think it's easy. I have 3 categories for this, and it goes from through the water column, from the top to the middle, and then on the bottom. I think they work great. We're gonna start off with the top. The first one you're gonna start with is right here. You're gonna have, take one of these. You're gonna have your top water frog. You cannot go wrong with the frog in the summertime. I think it's a great bait, especially because you can work the top, right above weed lines and in thick weeds, lily pads, because it's a top water bait. Weeds don't get fouled up on this at all. And then bass in the summer, like humans, it's really hot. You want to look for the shades. You want to look for dark areas, dark overhangs, where it's all the water's darker, cooler, and then weeds. Obviously, fish hide in there. And then if you can get the nice bait to work right over top of them, and a frog normally will hit that right out of the water every single time, you can easily get some nice hits with these. I always liked I've heard this one saying before when I was younger about the weed line. When you look at weeds, you might think, oh, there's no way a fish is in there, it's so thick. There's no way there's nothing in there, I'm not throwing anything on top of it. Look at the trees. If you took, when you're in the air flying an airplane, and you're looking down to like a wood line on some weed, you're looking at it, you can't see through it. All you see is green, top of the trees. You're like, it's the same thing as the weeds in the water. You're probably thinking there's no way anyone can walk under there, but as you all know, you can walk in the woods so easily. So it's the same concept in the fishing. When you look at the weeds, the top of the weeds, you're like, oh no, there's no way a fish can swim through there, it's too thick. But in reality, it's just like the woods. You can easily walk through there. There's all different channels. So don't be afraid of throwing in the weeds. And frogs work, they work all year, but I think they really excel in the summertime. And my favorite colors are, I like the dark colors, so you have black here. And the different black ones are all different sizes. But I think black works the best, or dark colored bait. When you look up, usually in the summertime, you have not nice days, you look up blue sky. So when you're looking up the water at a blue sky, a black object will stick out way more than, say, a white bottom one. But then it's vice versa for if you're fishing into early morning or late night. It's gonna be a flip side. If you're fishing in the dark and the sky is dark, you don't want to be throwing a black bait. I mean, you'll still see it, but it's not the same. You want the most contrast. You want something to stand out. So if you're fishing early morning, late night, go with the lighter color bottom. If you're fishing daytime, go with the black or dark color bottom. Now, going to number 2, second favorite bait for the summertime. This is in the middle of the water column. Is right here. You have the whole wad of these right here, which are the deep diving crankbaits. These are, like, they excel in the summertime. You have every different size on here. You got the real deep divers here, which I believe these go like 10-12 feet. Then you got the little bit of a smaller presentation here. And then deep divers work great, especially when you want to fish those points, deep drop-offs. The best way to use is try to find either graphs. Use your graphs on the boat, or if you can't afford graphs or anything like that, one of the best things to do is either look up online, and you can go right on to pretty much every major lake in the world. You can look up online and find the depth chart, and it gives you the map, an overview of the map with lines, like contour lines, and you can see the different drop-off ranges. Or if you don't have use the electronic, now it's 23rd century or 21st century, whatever it is. Everyone probably pretty much has a phone or electronic. You can at least look it up online. But if you can't, you can get one of these books. I've had one of these for New York, and just flip to any lake you want. Let's find a nice design one here. This one will work. Sure, Hampton Manor Lakes, this will work. And you get the concept of it. You can see right on here, that's what every line, they break down each line, 30 feet, 20 feet, 10 feet, and it'll show you where the drop-offs are, the different drop-offs. So I always got to utilize this. If you're going to a new body of water, I'll use the graphs on the boat, look it up beforehand, so you get it beforehand. Guess you're not going in blindly, and you want to find where they drop off, because the fish in the summer are hot. They want to go down to the deeper water where it's cooler. So you're not going to get down. You're not going to get down there with your medium diving cranks. You're going to take a nice deep diver and get right down there. And I like the pleasure of the crankbait is you can work that so many different ways. You see what they're doing. You can work it quick. You can crank it as quick as you want. If they're not going for that, you can do stop and go, slow roll it, but you really want to get a crankbait to be working. You don't want to, if you want to work it to the best, you don't want it to be like this in the water, because then you're going to come up. You want it to be like this, going in the water, like this. You want the bill of it to bounce off all the rocks. You want it to be scurrying around the bottom, or timbers and stuff like that. You want to be bouncing off the bottom. That's what you want to get a reaction bite out of this. And there's all different kinds of crankbaits, as you know. There's suspending, there's floating, there's sinking, there's rattling. My favorite is suspending and rattling. I like those two because I like to be able just to reel and stop and have it be right there. Some of them are really buoyant, and right when you stop, they go right up and they go up really quick. And I don't want that, and I don't want it to be vice versa. I don't want to stop and let it sink, because you don't know what's exactly right below there. You can get snagged, especially because when you crank it like this, the hooks are kind of behind it, and then you stop, they sink down, and if it's sank quick, these can get submerged into rocks, timbers, or anything on the bottom. I don't know what's down there, and you can get snagged, so you don't want to do that. So I like suspending. I like to crank and stop right where it is, and I like the rattling aspect to bring noise into a helpful factor. Now, number 3, and the final for top 3 baits, this is the bottom of the water column, is you want to get Mondo worms. I think Mondo worms do or it doesn't have to be exactly this brand Mondo worms, but 10-inch worms. I like this, bigger worms in the summer, because we can get one of these out here. I'll break one of these out. See what we're working with here. Right here. So you have the nice slick body worm, and then you, of course, you want to take this little part right here and break it off, just like that. So you have this nice slender body worm right here, and it will work really well in the summer. And I like to match it up with depending on the size of the worm, for 10-inch, I like to put a 5/0 hook on it. Now, why do you want to use a big worm? Because you might think, well, I might not get no bites. You need. Some people like to be discouraged when they see this, because they think, well, there's no way I'm going to get this because I don't have any big fish in my lake. No small fish are going to bite this, and I'm going to really struggle to catch them all. You can see where you're coming at with that, because I've been there where I'm like, I'm not throwing this. Nothing's going to bite this thing, because the fish you're catching are the size of the worm. But I think you got to go out there and throw this, because you will get more quality bites. You will get bigger fish with this, but the small ones will, of course, still take this, as you see when small fish take jerk baits and crankbaits that are bigger than them. So they will, bass are predators, they will attack bigger baits than that. But in the summer, going back to, the bass are hot. They don't want to be chasing fish around all day like they do in the spring and the fall. So if they want to they don't want to be chasing around small meals all day, because then they're gonna have to be working up energy and getting hot. They want to try to get the biggest bang for their buck, to say the least. So if they can have a nice presentation of a big worm coming by, they'll be like, okay, let me just hit this. That's my big meal for the day. So that's why throwing big baits in the summer work good, because they're looking for that one big meal, so that they can satisfy themselves for the rest of the day, and then they can go rest in the shade and stay cool for the rest of the day. That's why sometimes with crankbaits, I do like throwing the bigger style one, going on the thing that they're looking for, bigger style baits. This is one of the favorite crankbaits out there, is the Bill Dance ones, the old ones. I think their make is perfect, and they rattle flawlessly. Go back to the crankbait thing, I just thought of it. But bounce back to the worm. I like to fish the worms. You could flip docks with them. That's why I like worm fishing as much, as you can do it in so many versatile ways. You can still pitch this up shallow. You can pitch it in weeds. You can fish docks with it. You can fish deep drop-offs with it. You can fish, what are they called? Submerse. Like the rising islands in the middle. I can't think of what I'm looking for here. But like, not rising islands, but like where the water is higher in the middle of lakes. I can't think of what exactly I'm looking for. But it's mainly up north, where you can hit smallmouth in the middle of lakes. You might think you're way out, like, yeah, there's no way there's fish here, but it's really shallow, and the fish will be there, but I can't think of exactly what word I'm looking for. But yeah, I liked the Mondo worm Guggen baits make. I think it's a really nice slender worm, and it really moves the water. This nice big flopping tail really moves water and gets the fish to react to it, and they come in so many great colors. I like this one. This one is called plum color, and I like black and blue. A lot of the water up here is kind of murky, and it's not murky, but like, I think the black and blue excels over any other color. Green pumpkin's a close second. But yeah, that's gonna be the top 3 baits for July. If you're struggling out there, and it's the dead of summer and you're hot, fish are hot, try throwing one of these three baits. Throw a frog, throw a worm, and throw a deep crankbait. And let's see if we can get you some more fish in the boat, on the land, wherever you might be. And the pleasure is, you can fish all these baits from shore. You don't need to have a boat to do it. The deep crankbait, yes, will be harder from the shore because obviously if you're on the shore casting out, coming in, you're getting shallower as you come in. So the deep crankbait will dive in there. But you got to know that aspect going into it and fish around it using the tactic of knowing the different depths of the water. So you might be able to find a lake or reservoir, something that has a dam. Obviously you can fish the dam. You know it's deep there because it's dammed up. So you can easily throw a deep crank there. Or, like I said, go back to the topographic map and find spots on your lake, local lake, that are deep drop-offs that you can fish from shore. Because I know there's a lot of lakes around here. One of my local reservoirs, there is one spot that you can be on shore and literally like 2 feet out, it's 18 feet deep right there. So you can throw deep crankbaits from shore. It's obviously easier from a boat, but the shore will not stop you from throwing it. And obviously a frog and a worm, you could throw that wherever. Kayak, shore, boat, you probably even throw it from a helicopter. It's so universal. But yeah, those are the top 3 baits, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe down below. Leave us a comment for something else you'd like to see. You can do, I'll try to keep this up for top 3 baits throughout the year. You do August, and then we'll hit the fall up, and then the winter. We can even do some winter ones. Kind of a cool different aspect to give you input on what I think are the top 3 for every part of the year. And we can do similarities, differences for what stays the same throughout the year. One thing it is frogs are always up there, or some kind of top water is always good. Bass like top water. But yeah, I will see you in another video. Next video's coming up. I know we got the rod and reel arsenal, that's coming up. And the day, I forget what day we were on the tournament. We're on day 4 or 5. I don't remember what I did last. I think we're on 4. I think the next video will be 4. So yeah, I will see you on the water. Bravo out.